Guys, another open mat this weekend. This is a good one because both myself and Ross have used Elliott in the past. Elliott McArthur as a sports psychologist. Am I right in saying you were one of the first cohorts to qualify as a sports psychologist in Scotland?
Yeah, the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
The very first?
Yeah, the first one that they done. It was perfect timing when I finished my undergrad. The next course started that year, so it was perfect.
So that's a bit of a claim a few minutes. So I've worked with Elliott, and we worked in quite a few things, and we'll get into that in a wee bit more detail as this podcast goes. But Elliott's now got a new adventure, and it's called Fight Mindset, and it's going to give you some skills that both myself and Ross have used to help you overcome certain areas in your martial arts journey. So Elliott, you want to run through it? What's your whole ethos, your whole mindset for this kind of thing?
One of the main reasons that I started out to do this was the fact that I like working with people individually, but I've only got so much time. So if I can upload something as an online presence, almost a bit of like content creation around sports psychology and target it towards the people that I would like to work with, I just don't have the time to work with them. Then I was like, well, this is a perfect opportunity for me to be able to branch out, help as many people as I can whilst creating something successful for myself. And
then from that as well, if they're looking for more contact, they can receive a higher, imagine in a tier system, where like you would go in at a low level, and if you're thinking, right, I want more of this, then you can subscribe to more and you can have more contact with you.
Yep, so that's the plan. Initially we're starting out, we've developed 2 programs, one's called Fight Mindset, one's Fight IQ. So one of them is in regards to like yourself, how can we better your psychology? How can we get you more attuned to self-talk, nervous energy, adrenaline dumps, things like that. So how can we handle that?
Can you just dip into that self-talk again? Like, for quite a few guys who'll not understand.
Yep. So self-talk is like an internal dialogue, which everyone has. We've spoke about it many times together, and sometimes you'll get a negative self-talk and it's something you can't help. And when these negative thoughts come into your head, they can drastically affect your performance.
Well, it was one of them. I had a self-talk, and it was conditioned because originally did we track it back, that self-talk, to one punch? I threw one punch, and because I didn't throw this right hand properly, I got my nose broke in the gym. So this was just a training. I was training with a low-level guy who just came in for a quick class, and I was like, dance about him, I'll pump that jab out, I'll move, and he just dipped his head and just boom. Bingoed my nose, and then from that I then had self-talk and a negative, and one of the things we worked on was how do we break that down.
Yeah, that was something that became a little bit more complicated, and it was called a systematic desensitization, which is basically systematically breaking down something which you're sensitive to. So you were overly anxious or apprehensive about throwing a right hand because you had the fear that if you threw the right hand you were going to receive something bad on the other end of it. And we tracked it back to something that was like 9 years previous or something, to when you wouldn't even been remotely as close to the fighter that you were or are now. And we kind of broke it down and went, okay, this is your activation event. This is where your apprehension comes from. So how do we go from 9 years ago all the way back to now and break it down? And the biggest part of it was making you understand that Paul Craig is not this Paul Craig. That's
very hard though, very hard. Everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't something that fixed overnight either. Like we done it initially, I think, with the Menefeld fight, and then
did we originally start working with the Australian boy?
Just after the Australian
guy. So that's when we originally myself and Elliott have known each other for years, and you were obviously at university and we'd done a lot of jiu-jitsu together, and you'd said, listen, is there any chance you obviously seen these kind of things holding me back? And that was one of the things. So Craig just pulled up my record. So we started working just after the Ankalaev fight. Went to after Jimmy Cruton. From that, we, as you said, we broke down that self-talk. And for me, it was definitely a negative self-talk, because in my head it was saying, don't throw that, because if you fucking throw that, you're going to get clocked. And then it was like, right, I'll no fly it. And then when I did throw it, what was happening? I was throwing it with I wasn't throwing it with the same intensity that I should throw it. So it was I was throwing it apprehensively, and I was getting caught, so it was then reinforcing this negative self-talk. Is that correct?
Yeah, it wasn't even that your punches weren't thrown with enough malice or anything. You had that apprehension making it slightly slower. So if you're loading it up and you're getting ready, the guy's going to see that.
Aye.
He's going to read it. He knows exactly what you're about to do now.
I'm going to throw it, and then by the time you actually throw it, he's already clocked it, and then punish you for it. So then it's reinforcing that kind of
the exact same issue that was the issue before. Like just giving you, you're getting hit when I throw this. I'm still getting hit when I throw this.
It's reinforcing that thought that you've already got. And one of the other ways that we targeted it was alongside that we ran like reframing of our thoughts. So we have our negative thoughts, or negative automatic thoughts they're called, where they pop into your head and you've got no control over them. What we done was start targeting these thoughts. We wanted to identify how frequent they were, when they would most often happen, and then how can we address these thoughts in a more positive way. So instead of going like, if I throw my right hand, I'm going to get hit, that's not necessarily true. You know, like how many times you watch a fight and a guy throws a right hand and it drops a guy, knocks a guy out, or he throws it and nothing bad happens in return. So we had to address the total negative aspect of it, that if I throw this hand, I'm going to get hurt. And we had to reframe it to, if I don't throw this hand, then I've got one less weapon. I need to develop my ability to throw this hand. I need to have the confidence.
Was one of the other things we did was you got loads of footage of me throwing right hands and not getting hit. So you'd went through my fights and had like, right, here's a time where Paul has thrown a right hand properly, it's landed and he's not been hit. And then that was like sort of, all right, I can throw a right hand. And there's no not that there's no consequences, there's always a consequence. But the negative consequence that I've got in my head, listen, Paul, this is, and made a huge difference.
Definitely. Like you look at your striking nowadays as well, and from your definitely your earliest UFC fights, the strikings came on leaps and bounds. Like, not to say you were a bad striker, because obviously I'd done MMA sparring and stuff with you as well, and it was miserable. Like, but when you get to those upper levels of the UFC where everyone is elite everywhere, it makes a difference just having that 1% better. And
that's the big thing I think people forget, Like, you're not in the UFC. There's no more one-trick ponies in the UFC. Everyone is good everywhere. And that seems to be missed by a lot of people. And this is also one of the areas where you have to be, in psychology-wise, that has got to be adopted by all fighters now. Because why would you be neglecting the computer running everything? That's how I've always felt about it. I don't know if you think the same.
Yeah, it's like you train your body to the absolute breaking point in every other way, but a lot of guys are often just ignoring their mental side of things, and
it's usually already terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
For a lot of guys going into MMA.
Do you think there's a negative stigma with guys from our generation using sports psychologists?
Yeah, definitely.
I remember when we first
Definitely, yeah. I remember you especially. Like, one of the first things you ever said to me, you sat down and you were like, I know this isn't going to work, but I'll give it a go. I was like, okay, we'll try, we'll see. Obviously, over time, like you opened up to it a bit more.
Aye.
But there's guys out there now which are making it so much better for myself and for other fighters who are setting a good example, like yourself, to start with. But we've got guys like Tom Aspinall, who, if you see any of the stuff he's talking about just now, he's constantly talking about sports psychology, how it can help him. Elliott as well. He's really big on it, always talking about how he uses imagery work, which is something that we spoke about as well, where, like, just quickly on imagery work, it's not just as simple as imagining a fight. You're breaking it down to, you can try and make the experience less alien. So you think about your walkout, what's the atmosphere like, what's the crowd like, how are you feeling, have you got the butterflies in your stomach? And the better you get at imagery, the better you can replicate every aspect of what goes on fight day, whether it be in the backstage, getting warmed up, walking out, your music, getting your name read out, and then the actual fight itself. The better you get at that, the less alien it becomes, the less adrenaline dumps that you get, and the more confident you actually feel about being in there. Because we can spar every day of the week, but it's not the same as fighting.
So one of the things that, because I'd been using imagery without realising it was imagery, and you broke it down into two elements. You broke it down into first person and second person, am I correct? But one of the things I wasn't using self-imagery with was with that walkout. Because a lot of people don't realise, walking from that backstage, that's when the emotion starts. This doesn't start as you go in the cage and the cage door's shut. It's all the other things. It's like the
extremely overwhelming
it's the getting the pat down. It's like getting your gloves wrapped, all these kind of things. And they were the imagery things that you said, listen, Paul, I know you imagine this fight and you imagine certain scenarios. Can you start imagining the walkout? Can you start imagining what it's like in the background, how you're feeling all these kind of emotions? And that was something that, you know what, why would I not imagine that? Because that's when all these, I'm not saying the easiest part of being a fighter is when the cage door's shut, but as you said, how often do we spar? How often are we in these bad situations? and we never do the walk. So that was a huge thing that you changed.
Not
through
just
imagery.
that. What would you say personally is the worst bit?
The walk.
For me, is the same. The walk. Like, I guarantee it's pretty much everyone.
Yep.
Like, even if it's those guys who come out hood up, they're looking, just doing it at the ground, and they don't lift their head, they don't look at the crowd, or it's one of the guys bouncing about, high-fiving everybody. Both of them feel terrible.
Yep.
They're just, one's dealing with it this way and one's dealing with it this way.
It's just
that's
how they
all.
express, that nervous energy. Some want to dispel it, and some of them just try to keep it all in tight. And like, I've worked with guys in the UFC, Bellator, Cage Warriors, guys who are just having their first fights, and they all talk about the same thing. It's not the easiest part, obviously, but psychologically, it's when the door shuts, you're kind of like, okay.
Aye.
You're ready at that point. It's everything leading up to that point. Even in small jiu-jitsu competitions, you'll see guys, they'll be frantically pacing about at the warm-up area, and you can tell that they're going through it. It just takes that.
Mate, it's a relief.
Once they're there.
See, when the MC goes out, it's a relief. When he heads out, they lock the door, I'm like, finally. Fucking thank fuck, that's over. Like, I know that.
Because it's that whole pageantry thing. It's a long process.
What do you do? How long do you let the music play before you walk out? And there's people there. Do you look at them? Do you high five them? What do you do here? And then you've got, like you say, the refs fucking checking you, gum shield, groin guard. Aye, cool. And
it's a long process.
Aye.
So this module 1, so you're looking at this self-talk and you're looking at this sort of visualization. What other elements were you?
So some of the stuff we've got in it are things like focus cues. So when you're in a fight, sometimes your focus kind of sways. So I think I've described this to you before. Focus, if you imagine it's a stage, right, and all the lights are on, but the focus is when the lights go down, there's a spotlight. So that's your focus. Yeah, that's the part that is hard to keep on. So what we've done is we've started developing ideas and ways that we can refocus mid-fight. It's very simple things that we put through training so that it becomes automated, so it's not something that you have to think about. Small little things, even like I can use like Dustin Poirier as an example. You'll see him pulling his shorts, doing that type of thing. I don't particularly think that's the best one, like pulling your shorts down, leaving your face open, but things like that are what we're going at. You'll get people that'll just do that sharp inhale through the nose, and when they're doing that, they might say something in their head, and that's their reset. That's them getting back to where their focus should be. Because like I can talk from experience as well. When I was on Grapple Fest, my focus was gone, and it was through exhaustion. And I didn't put enough work into the camp, didn't put enough in, and that was going through my head. That's what I was thinking as I was getting more and more tired. I'm like, I'm too tired, I can't do this. And instead of trying to refocus myself, my head was all over the place. And
so it just kept getting deeper and deeper in that hole.
Exactly. So I wasn't handling my emotions well at all. And it's funny because like I've got all the tools in the world to help everyone else, but without having that someone to push you on and help you do it, it's very, very difficult. And where I was in my gym setup and situation, everything wasn't ideal for me. I wasn't particularly enjoying my time training, so everything was playing in. When it came to the actual competing, it was just, shouldn't have even been there, but you learn from these things, and I use it to better myself as a psychologist as well, because I go, right, okay, I've experienced it. I know exactly what these guys are going through. How can I help them? How can I use my experience to make sure that their experience is different? And
so as well as using your actual academic knowledge, you're using your actual experiences of being in the firing line. And you cornered me in one of my fights. Was that Mexico?
I think we done 3.
Was it 3? 4. So you've been there and seen what it's like backstage with a fighter dealing firsthand with these emotional drains.
Yeah, and it's different than people would imagine as well. Like you see the version of you coming to the arena, the version of you walking out to the arena, but the version of you actually backstage is not the same person.
100%.
It's totally different. There's a fire. There's like kind of like a steadiness to you almost. Not to you, but just in general, where people are just switched on.
Have you ever? I've noticed it in some of my fights. So see, after my fight's over, you can almost see the person switch back for being. And I've never noticed it in any other fighters because obviously I'm not watching them individually. When I'm watching my own fight, I'm watching what I'm doing. And there's been fights there where I've got victories, and you see this transformation where I switch back from going from being Paul Beardew Craig to being Paul Craig, and it's noticeable.
Yep.
I'll give you a better example. See, after the Bellato fight that got pulled, and we went back to the house and that, you were still the same. There was no like you hadn't come back yet, there was still like, there was an almost sort of just leave him alone now, because he's no had a resolution here, so that we didn't know one way or the other. That's quite a good way to put that, actually, and that's probably the only time I've seen you do it.
At that point, we've hit a full fight camp. Their opponent has had to pull for the fight, and it's been moved 4 weeks. What kind of stuff are you, as a psychologist, looking to do with an athlete?
I think the hardest thing with that is to try and keep your focus for those extra 4 weeks, because fight camps they're hard. They're really hard. But one of the things that I'd be drawing upon is we look at the 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever you've done for that camp, and we think, we're not letting this go to waste. We should have been here on this date. And the reason there isn't is this guy that you've now got the opportunity to fight in 4 weeks. And we try and spark that fire and continue keeping you on point. And again, you'll have the negative thoughts that'll creep into your head, like, oh, am I overtraining? Am I doing too much? Like, I peaked at the right time, and I'm going to have to dip back down and come back up. But that's fine, because we would handle it. We'd look into it. We'd start identifying what these thoughts are. We start identifying, right, okay, how can we quickly address that and change that? Because it's 4 weeks, it's not a long time. So what we've got to do is a very short fire, just keep you on point for 4 weeks. And
an unusual situation as well.
It's really weird, because it's not only, it's like your fight's not just been rescheduled where you're going to be getting a replacement or anything. You're fighting the same guy in 4 weeks at a different venue as well. Is that right?
Yep. A different place.
So if you've been the Apex to now being Atlanta.
Yeah. So it's different, because if we use your imagery work as well, we're
totally different, isn't it?
We're preparing for that venue, we're preparing for that time, that walk, the position on the card as well. Like everything plays into account. The only thing which has stayed the same is the guy, which is good, because everything you've done in the fight camp gearing towards this guy doesn't change. The only thing that's changed is where we're fighting and when we're fighting.
Mine's so fragile, isn't it? It can, as we spoke about recently, just there previously, it spirals so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like spiraling's another big thing that can happen in the middle of fights as well, where something like one of the things that we've got in the second module, which is the Fight IQ one, which is more focused about you preparing yourself for other people, is if your game plan isn't going to plan. Like if I keep trying the same thing, and this is what I've been training, we need to make sure there's a couple other things in the background and know when to switch. Like if I keep throwing a right hand and the guy's circling and countering me with everything that I'm doing, or if my wrestling, let's say I'm shooting for doubles and switching to a single and it's not working, I need to change that.
Yep,
I need to understand when to change that.
I can give an example of that. Do you remember fighting Ozdemir? I was one-dimensional. I was looking for one thing, and that's because we drilled one thing.
Yes.
We hadn't drilled multiple things. And then when it started to, when it was unraveling, and then I was like, no, I can keep going. And then by the end of it, I had no t-shirt. If we were using like an unraveling t-shirt, it just kept, I'm going for that single leg, double leg, single leg, double leg. The same position, head position was always the same. I'm looking for the same thing, but he's defending it so well. Yeah. And then it's frustrating. And then that spiral, we're spiraling because we're getting into a deeper hole thinking about, I'm not getting what. So what that module 2 is looking at now is, yes, this is A game, but we need to have multiple B's, C's, D's. Yeah,
and the thing as well is when you're looking at the guy you're fighting, you can kind of see what they're doing. You get after a couple of minutes, you can get an understanding of what they're trying to do. You can start adjusting, making those adaptations in the middle of the fight to try and understand. Okay, when I'm doing this, he's reacting like this. Okay, where does this play into what I'm doing? And then we start implementing the different game plans through that.
Do you have, like, as part of your job as a combat sports psychologist, do you work with all the different areas of, like, so the conditioning coach, the head coach, the training partners? Do you work with all of these people so you can get like build a bigger picture for you as a psychologist?
Sometimes, yeah. It very much differs on person to person. I think it's best when everyone's on the same page. Because if I'm giving you advice in regards to little tweaks we can make inside of training, if your head coach isn't on board with it, it's not happening. Because ultimately, I'm here to supplement. I'm not your coach.
Yep.
You know, like I'm here to help supplement your psychological skills. Whether if my ideas aren't aligning with like James Doolan's, then we need to have a discussion about what can we do to fix that issue. Because if I'm telling you one thing, he's telling you something else, we're getting confused and things aren't going to marry up. It will affect your training. You can't be training at 2 different gyms, for example, and have 2 different head coaches, because when it comes to fight night, it's not going to work.
Yep. One of the things that James does is, it doesn't matter who's in the corner. If you've got 4 or 5 guys, 3, 2, 1, it doesn't matter. Only one guy speaks.
Yep.
And it's normally the captain. The captain will speak, the captain will tell you what to do. And say, for instance, me, Ross, are in the corner with James Doolan and we see something, then we'll relay it to James Doolan. For him to relay it, you'll hear one voice and one voice only in the corner. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's the most sensible.
I totally agree. You need to have that one voice that you can hear.
And as you're saying, conflicting information. One guy's telling you to invert, one guy's telling you to stand up, and you make a mistake.
Who was it? Was it not the Peter Yan fight against Aljamain Sterling?
The knee, yeah.
And he had the front headlock and went, "Can I knee?" And the guy in his corner went, "Yep, you can knee." Boom.
Boom.
And
Changes.
like championship fight over. Aye. So it can happen.
Again, like if you're getting conflicting information from two people, it's creating apprehension in you. So you're going to be slower to react to whatever you're going to do anyway, which again leads to opportunities. Like half a second is a long time in a fight.
Okay.
Like if I'm standing in front of you and I flick a jab out, or if I pick it up, I drop it in and I load it, it's two very different strikes. One of them that you can quite clearly see is coming. The other one, maybe not so much, and it's just due to timing. Which is something which is just overlooked, I think.
What else is in this module too, like the fight IQ?
So I've got in things about archetypes, so types of fighters. So if I'm fighting, we'll use like a Colby Covington. If we use him as an example, what's his style of fighting? He's a grinder. His goal is to get in and wear you the fuck out, tire you out as much as he can, wear on you, and eventually, if he can finish you through that way, cool, but he doesn't care. He's quite happy to just ride you for 5 rounds and get a decision that way. Or at least like peak version of him would have been, right? And then we can use people who are more like snipers, who are keeping on the outside and they're waiting, they're using feints to bait reactions and then strike back. So guys like Adesanya or Anderson Silva, these type of people. So, and then the third one, which we speak about, is a chaos merchant. Someone who goes in there and they thrive off of the scrambles. They thrive off of the unpredictable aspects of fighting. Like Justin Gaethje, for example, who'll go in there. And you know when you're fighting him, you know you're in for it's just going to be a tough time. The guy's coming to hurt you and he's not going to stop.
Yeah.
And he's no bother if he gets hurt.
Doesn't care at all if he gets hurt. He's happy to take it together. And these three guys are going to be fighting you 3 different ways. So we as a fighter need to understand what we're going in to fight. Because if we don't do that, we can't physically prepare. We can't mentally prepare. In the sense of if we're doing our imagery work, if I go in there and I'm fighting a guy who's going to just grind me, but in my head I'm thinking he's going to stay on the edge, he's going to be picking these shots and that. When I go in the fight, nothing that I've been preparing for or mentally envisioning is happening. And that's going to have a massive it's going to have a massive effect on how I'm going to perform at that point. I'm like, fuck, this isn't actually the way I thought it was going to go. Which is fine if we've got our backups in place. But perfect practice, we're going to figure out what the type of guy is, watch as much tape as we can. If it's not like you as the fighter that's watching the tape, I'll happily watch as much tape as I can for my guys. And your coach probably is going to be doing the same as well, because he needs to know and he needs to have an understanding, see areas where you can exploit it or capitalise on it as well. What
about fighters' personal lives?
You got a big laugh.
This is one we spoke about.
Yeah.
So like obviously you're going to have some fighters have got nice, normal, happy, private lives, and then you've got other ones.
Yeah. So
how do these play into their actual?
So the two main things that we deal with is just people in general. Is our internal factors and our external factors. So our internal factors are things which we can control. So be that our diet. It's an internal factor. We have, or we should have, a good control over what we eat. External factors, things we can't control, is how people are going to react to us in public, for example, family members, things like that. How are they going to be? It's very difficult for me to weigh that up. Like as a fighter, not as a psychologist. My job as a psychologist is to hear what these external factors are and how can we limit the impact that they have on you as a person or you as a fighter. And there's millions of different ways, totally depending on every situation. Like I've had where I've fucked up before. I had a fighter, got him to move down to Glasgow because it was best for his training. But the one thing I didn't take into account due to my personal experience, I don't have kids. He had a kid. He left them up where he was from, and it was a terrible idea. It really weighed on him mentally that he needed to have more contact with his child, and totally understandable. But I didn't think of that because it was something that was never really brought up. I don't have kids, so it didn't crop up into my mind. So again, it's a good experience for me. I learned from it, and I'm like, okay, these are external factors which I need to pay more attention to. I need to understand, and it's like when I start with a new client, I do something called an intake interview, where I'll ask about everything about them, like background, personal experiences, kids, families, anything that I can, diet requirements, even like PEDs, do you know what I mean? Depending on the sport, more so with bodybuilders and stuff, it's it's very open and they're quite honest about that type of stuff. But you need to take into account all these different things and figure out, right, how can we make these external ones have as little an impact as possible? Because as a fighter, especially when we get to the higher levels, we want you 100%. And if we've got these factors that are weighing in on you from the outside, you're not going to be 100%. You can't be. There was a fighter like years ago, and I can't remember who he was. He was quite a successful guy, and he quit for a good few years because I think his wife left him, and he became like a bit of an alcoholic. So he quit fighting until he sorted that out, and he came back. So UFC fighter, I can't remember who he was.
I'm sure.
Sure, Kevin Lee had bother with like a divorce and moving house and stuff, and
currently Neil Magny.
Is he?
Neil Magny's became a really. He's been on a few losses and he's just recently come back to win. But the losses were at a point where he's going through all this turbulent time. He's dealing with a breakup, and then a lot of people don't realise is when you're in a relationship, your partner does loads for them as well. There's a whole There's a whole network in your life. So when you take someone out of that, be it a family member, a partner, a child, a father, a mum, all this kind of stuff, and it has a spiraling. And I'm using spiraling again, but
it's just the best analogy.
It's spiral out of control, and then the next thing you realise, it's like 2 losses, and you're like, right, I need a win. I need a win, but you've not fixed the hole that's been made through maybe that breakup or a death or whatever it is.
So you can have the best skill set in your division, but if you've got too much going on outside, it's very hard to apply that. Like even Conor McGregor, perfect example of a guy who was at the peak of the sport and too much going on the outside, and it had a massive impact on how he performed and how often he performs.
Ronda Rousey was probably the same.
Yeah.
She's probably a good example.
A good example of Ronda as well is how to deal with your first loss, how to deal with things not going your way. She got a pretty bad loss as her first one, and never really recovered from it.
Aye.
She couldn't accept not having that status anymore, being that number one person that was, or looked almost untouchable in her division, to being finished so devastatingly as well.
And there was just nothing said, she just left.
Yep, disappeared.
Just unusual for UFC.
And
normally,
the thing about that as well, like mental toughness, it's a myth that mental toughness is something you're just born with, and some people they're not born with it, but their experiences by the time they become adults, they are mentally more resilient than other people. But that doesn't mean that you can't become mentally tough with the right amount of like training. Like we train our bodies. Like when I was born, I couldn't deadlift. I can't deadlift now with my back, but like I couldn't lift weights to anywhere near the extent I can now. But I trained my body, and then I can lift weights. Like when I started jiu-jitsu, I would have been shite. And now I'm pretty good. Do you know what I mean? So like these different things, like you can train any skill set that you have. So it's baffling like why people just assume, oh, you're not mentally tough and you just can't be, because you can. You know,
why
like
is the stigma there though?
I think it's an old timey thing. You know, like if you think about like even my parents and your parents, they'll be less on board with talking about their feelings, especially the guys. And MMA being a predominantly male sport, it's something that people don't want to talk about. And a lot of guys that I work with, you'll never even see a word of them posting about it. They'll never talk about them doing any form of psychological skill training. And that's totally up to them. But in order to try and get this stigma away, we need as many people talking about it as possible, because it does help. You know, like you look at the elite level guys just now and you hear them talk about how they get ready for fights or their thoughts on fights or them breaking down fights. And you can see that there's a switch there. They know what they're talking about, and it's everything they're doing is laid out perfectly in regards to making sure that their mental well-being's spot on. They're not leading into mental burnout, which is even worse than physical burnout in my opinion.
So do you think there's far more guys using sports psychologists than are letting on?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think they're hiding it?
I do. Well, I know a lot.
You know they're hiding it.
You know, so
aye.
From my experience, I would say yes, but there will still be far too many which aren't. I'd say definitely if we get like 100 fighters, more than half of them aren't. And I think
do you
that's
think
an
a guy
issue.
like Bryce Mitchell's using sports psychologists?
I think he just needs a good friend.
If he's a sports psychologist, he needs a new one, because that guy's off the
needs
charts.
to stay off TikTok.
So here's a question. Obviously, when guys are first taking their steps into this career, there's a lot of expenses that you have to look at. So if you're getting nutritionists and you're getting conditioning guys, you're getting to pay coaches. Is this something that amateur guys can use, this program?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because am I right in saying it's like is it a monthly payment? Is it a program where you would just own the program once you paid for it once?
So as of just now, we've got 2 programs that are coming out. So it's going to be 2 programs initially. I think I've got 6 or 7, not pre-written, but pretty much formulated out, which will then be coming out at a later date. For now, it's just going to be the 2 programs and then releasing 2 programs until that changes. But the plan is that I would like to go down some form of like the subscription basis type of thing where there'll be more frequent uploads of things. It won't be big programs like the way they are now, but they still might come along where you might have to like buy these programs, but the subscription will cover more frequent things. Like you could even like have a forum page where people are asking or they're struggling with certain things, and I can quite easily break it down into
so pretty much
to digest video format.
What our Patreon is like. So the guys pay for different levels of the Patreon, and from that they'll have different contact with us, meaning through more podcasts or more chats in the Discord or whatever it is they're looking for. So pretty much that's what it's going to be for you.
Yeah, that's where I would like it to go. I'd like to have that like a community almost. You know what I mean? Like I want people to enjoy the stuff that I'm putting out and get actual benefit from it. But I think an important aspect of it is like kind of need to like me as well. Like if I'm just going to sit there and just be this boring, like nobody's going to be interested. I can be giving
into you, haven't you?
Yeah, if I can give you the best information in the world, but see if I'm putting it across like a professor or a lecturer or something, you'll take in fuck all. You know, like I try and be as personable as I can with the guys I work with and try and just be like one of the guys. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the way I've always done it, and I'll never change that aspect of things either. Like working with you guys, like we come from different backgrounds, but it doesn't mean that we can't get along and like have similar interests and get along as like people as well as in a professional sense. Because as a psychologist, see if you've not got that bond with your client and your client doesn't vibe with you, it's not going to work. You need to have that mutual respect for each other where not only do you respect what each other's giving each other, but you respect each other as people.
Yep. Have you had this with guys where you've started working with them and just went, this is not going to happen?
Yeah, like my biggest gripe with guys that I work with is guys that don't put the work in. Because like anything, if you don't put the work into it, you're not going to get anything back from it. And when I first started out as well, I'd done a lot of like pro bono work, a lot of stuff where I would never charge a penny to the guy to get me the experience. Because like you can do all the practice in the world, but until you actually do it, it's not the same thing. And like the first couple of times you do stuff is really daunting. But like now, like I can work with anybody and it's fine because I've done it a million times. But when I first started doing the pro bono stuff, there was guys, because they weren't paying, they wouldn't take it seriously.
They weren't. They never came to you. You came to them.
And I'd be like, oh, we'll do this and that and this, and then we'd come to the next session the following week, and they'd be like half an hour before it, they'd be like, oh, can we reschedule it for an hour? I was like, right, okay. And then like, can we do it tomorrow instead? Actually, and I'm like, right, okay.
Get to fuck.
I was like, okay, you're fucking me about a wee bit here. This is like, where's the respect part of it? And then when I do finally speak to him, he's like, oh, I've not really done that, that, and he's not engaging. So instead of like trying to get an hour session in when the guy's not talking back to you, especially when you've already built that relationship up, at first it's fine because it takes a while to get to know each other and build up that trust. But when you've been working with guys for like a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and then they start being like that, you're like, fucking hell, like
it just shows you that they're not buying into you, they're not buying into the program. One of the things that we did as when we first started working was goal setting.
Yeah.
Like, because once I made it to the UFC, I'd completed my goal. I never recast any more goals because I had no idea what it was I was doing. I was so driven to become a UFC fighter, and when I was there, then I kind of took my foot off the gas. So we were breaking down stuff like long-term goals, short-term goals, and then like weekly goals and daily goals, and there was all these kind of things.
Still do it now.
You still do it?
That's good that you're still listening.
Do it now,
But that was, and it made a huge difference for me developing as a mixed martial artist. So one of the things that we had done was, right, you want to, so we'll use the right hand as an example because we spoke about it. Right, you want to improve your right hand. Right, you need to throw a good crisp right hand in your sparring session. And then when, as you were saying, when I come back and he's like, how did you land that? Well, I didn't land it because this and this. Right, so what you're going to do, then you're putting on me to, right, what am I going to do in my next sparring session? Or what am I going to do in my next pad session? Or it's all this breakdown of setting these goals. And then by the end of it, it was like, right, how many are you hitting? Well, I hit 6 because we broke one goal down to the point where it wasn't flinging any or throwing any to now throwing multiple. How many did you hit? Well, we set the goal of 3. how many did you hit? Oh, it was about 9. I wasn't really paying attention because it's not becoming a goal for me anymore. And then you, as the psychologist, was like, right, it's not the goal anymore. The goal then changes.
Yep. And that's the thing as well. My job's not to tell you your goals. My goal is to help you understand what your goals should be. Like if I tell you to do something, it's harder to take that on board rather than you think it's your idea. Like it might be my idea and I've just danced about it until you've came up with it. And you're like, oh, that's my idea. And it's like, it's not really. But that's good because we want you to think it's your idea because you're more likely to actually do it. And then when we get to the points where the goals that we've set, you're just smashing them out the park, then we're like, right, okay, there's no point here anymore. The one thing that I'm a massive advocate for with goal setting is, especially in fight camps, goals should have a reason. Your small goals, so we break it into process and performance. So the process goal would be how we're going about doing it. The performance would be like in sparring rounds, landing that punch. Building up to our long-term goal, being able to confidently use it without the apprehension, using it in fights. And we stick to like the SMART goal setting module format, where we need to make sure there's like an actual time on it as well, or something which we can track. We can't have a goal of going, we'll use yourself, we'll go like, I'm going to own my own gym. And we're like, right, okay, when?
6 weeks.
Yeah, at this point, it's a dream. I'm going to own my own gym. It's like, okay, that's not a goal because we've got nothing tangible there. Like, when are we going to do it by? And if you were to say 6 weeks, I'd be like, right, okay, let's try again. Let's use something realistic. Because if it's not realistic, what the fuck's the point? Do you know what I mean? So we need to have realistic goals with times on them that are achievable, that we can measure, and they're specific. Like, ultimately, that's what a goal should be. And it should always be like layering up and up and up to get into those goals which actually matter. Like one of our goals was getting you into the top 15 of the UFC. And we did. And at the time as well, it didn't seem like something that was feasible in a short period of time.
It was such a long-term goal. It was years in making that. Because one of the goals was, I remember one of your goals being to be a UFC fighter, to maintain being a UFC fighter, or to be, and then it went from being that to being like, being in the top 10, being in the top 15, being in the top 10, going for the title. I remember all these goals. Yeah,
you wanted to have the feeling of, I am a UFC fighter. You know, like you get folk that have had 1 or 2 fights in the UFC and then never fighting it again, but they've always gone, I was a UFC fighter. I'm like, you were, but there's a difference between being a 1 or 2 guy and now a 20 fight guy. Do you know what I mean? So there's a massive difference there. So we wanted you to, because a big thing for you, and I hope you don't mind me saying, was you wanted, one of your big aspirations and motivations behind fighting was experience. You wanted to look back on your life and go, that was fucking sick. You know, and hopefully you've achieved that at this point now anyway. But
we definitely done them. Like, we were having a chat on Monday about being in Mexico and going into the Dog Torres. Remember, we were in like the roughest part of Mexico, flying about in these wee scooters.
And I crashed it.
You joked over, like right over the top of it. And like these kind of things are going to live with us for the rest of our lives. Like, right, you can have no money in the world, but that's just the memories of being in this place where we wouldn't normally have went. I wouldn't go, you know what, I want to go to Mexico City for my holiday. We wouldn't go there. Right, Mum would go into like the roughest part of the town, and we had no idea that's where we were. We went to, one of the guys we were with was staying in this pretty shitty hotel, and we go to this, and it was like, even the rats have knives. They were like, it was a shit.
It was like where all the luchadors and everything were, wasn't it? Like they stayed out that way, and he was like, come to a luchador show, and we're like,
because we were going to go to one, and we'd said to the UFC, and the UFC says, no, you can't go there.
Yep.
And then we looked on the map and was like, we were there the day. we just
had no idea.
But that kind of stuff's like stick with us forever. Like,
even like, see, I remember the first time you fought Shogun when we were just about to walk out, and the guy leans over and he's like, "You're going to die, Paul Craig." Things like that, and everyone fucking booing you. And but then after the fight, everyone's pure like, "Oh, this is amazing!" Like good pals with you and everything. It was a cool experience.
That's what I wanted more than like my drive in the UFC was never financial gain.
Yeah.
I always said that, like, it was never about this. Obviously, it helps me in life, but it was all about, right, when's our next memory coming? And that's why I would take all these fights in different places.
Yep.
And that's why I was like, I'm never going to go to Australia again, because, like, get to go to Australia? I'll take that. And it totally destroyed you, like, ended up with the flu, ended up sick as a pig.
You were there for weeks as well. I remember being like, how's he still there?
I did not enjoy that. But so, as part of the programme, is there goal setting in that with these guys?
Like the very first module in the first programme, the focus on it is actually motivation. So it does bleed into goal setting a little bit further down, but initially I need you as a fighter to understand why you do it. Because if you don't know why you do it, I don't know why you do it. We need to understand, like, if I'm going to set goals for you that are going to actually get something out of you, where you actually get a bit of fire and you're like, okay, I actually really want to achieve this. I need to understand what you actually want to achieve in the sport, whether it's for financial reasons, whether it's for memories, whether it's for status. You want people to go, that's the fighter guy. Like, everyone's is different. Some people's are intrinsic, where maybe they just want to be the best version of themselves, or they want to experience the coolest things that they can experience. Maybe it's external stuff, like I want to have enough money to set my family up for life, or I want people to know me as, oh, that's so-and-so, he was in the UFC. Like, I want to know what they are. And it doesn't have to be one reason. There can be a million different reasons, and everyone's are different. And sometimes people tell you their reasons and you're like, fuck, okay, didn't expect that. And that's fine. Now I know them. Now we can build around that, and you can actually understand what motivates you, because a lot of guys don't. Like, I've spoke to a few guys where I was like, what's your motivation? Why do you do this? And they're like, yeah, I actually don't know. And then you come back the next week and they've thought about it and like, yeah, I didn't even realise. And it helps them open up to me as well, and it helps that therapeutic bond where they trust me, I trust them, and we build from there. And then we get into the goal setting. We structure it, and in the program, so every module's got a downloadable PDF or a cheat sheet almost that comes along with it, which took me fucking ages to do, by the way. Like, I couldn't believe how long those parts of it took, because like the actual content and stuff I do every day. Like,
and this is all through videos, isn't it? This is all through you and in front of a camera, you talking them through the program. And are you using like flash card kind of thing?
There's overlays and everything that accompany it, and then alongside that, when you're watching it, you'll have all your downloadable stuff which you can go through, you can take to the gym with you can use in any way that you actually need it. It was quite daunting when we were filming it as well, because the guy, my business partner, was just kind of like, yeah, we'll come in and film it all. I was like, okay. And I expected just like a nice wee setup, like one wee camera, like that one maybe, but it was like fucking lights everywhere and everything. I was like, fuck.
It's a cool setup. Like, obviously you showed me it, and the way you've silhouetted yourself, and brilliant.
So that was like background lighting and stuff he used and everything. I don't have a clue about it, but he's like a pure nerd with the light and stuff, so it actually made it look professional. And I think the big thing that I wanted from it is like no distractions. So it's me, I've got all else in the background, so we used a very blank canvas inside the place that we filmed it, just to make sure that it was as personal, because I kind of wanted to create the feeling of you're doing a one-to-one. You know, like it's me and you, the way that me and you would have worked in the past, where we're sitting and we're talking it through and we're discussing it, and we're breaking down ideas and concepts that you can then utilise. Like, I think it's a really good tool that people can pick up and use, and for a small price as well. And the thing as well is my business partner, he's in tune with the like how to structure
the
websites,
marketing, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's not my expertise at all. So it's good to have someone like that, and we've got different payment options as well. So if you want to buy the programs but you don't want to pay the money up front, we have methods where it's like a monthly payment, so that it makes it easier and affordable for you to do it. So instead of paying, like, I think it's roughly, if you're buying the two programs together, I think it's roughly about £100, maybe a little bit less. But you can pay it up over 3 months, so it works out like £30 a month.
If you're breaking that down and you were doing this one-on-one with just a random psychologist, how much would these programs, how much would, for you to do this with somebody, cost him? So would it be like a fight camp?
I'd say probably more than a fight camp. Like, the amount of content which is in and across these two programs, it's a lot. Like, if we were to try and go through all of that in sessions where we could actually manage it and you were getting stuff out of it, you're looking at 12 weeks minimum to get through different parts of them.
And if you were running this, so I'm just trying to see, why would the guys use this? Because it's a cheaper, affordable, and it's been proven to work, as opposed to spending, say for instance, I'm like, right, it costs me £100 for 3 sessions with a sports psychologist. For the guys who can't afford that, because that's only 3 sessions. Yep.
And the thing as well, nowadays, you'd be very lucky to get that. Very lucky to get that with them. Like, if you were to buy like a block of sessions off a psychologist, you're probably looking at like maybe 2 to 250.
And how many is a block? Like 5?
Like 5. For like 5 sessions, you're looking about 200 to 250.
And then that's you physically got all this work. With all the paperwork and all the downloadables and all the stuff you can utilise that fight camp after fight camp. And
that's actually probably a pretty good deal as well. Like,
that's what I'm thinking. Like, sees I'm talking to you, I'm like, well, you probably doing yourself out a wee bit of time, but I get the reason why you're doing it, because there's so many young guys out there who have aspirations. And you think about your gym, Ross, how many guys are in the gym who would love to do this, but maybe don't have that mental focus, and maybe just need a wee bit of help. And for
it's not only that, the greatest fighters we've ever seen never really made it out of the gym. Because walking the cage was too much for them. And we probably do all know who we're talking about here.
We've all seen guys.
It just was too much. And I don't see that in a judgmental way. Like, I'm not saying, well, I made the walk. Like, I know how fucking hard it is, and I understand why some guys, they just went, I'm not doing that again.
I remember a guy in it was All Stars in Sweden. He was the best on the mat, super athletic, super technical. His pads were great, sparring, everything was tremendous. And when he made that walk, he just never
couldn't put it all together.
He couldn't put it all together. But in the gym, he would have beat everybody. Like, I'm talking like beating up Gustafsson, beating up Jimmy Manuel, absolutely smashing me. He was so good, but he just, when it came to the fight, and then I remember he was fighting like a couple of weeks after I had just left it, and I was like, oh my God, he's fighting. I can't wait to see him. And I watched him, I was like, oh.
It's not the same man.
Right. And all it could take is a session or two to kind of help this guy.
I'm sure George St. Pierre said he had a similar training partner. He's like, he said he was better than GSP. And he was like, I just wouldn't walk it. Just, can't do it.
Like, I've seen many a guy where, and they're going to fight out of my gym, and I'm like, oh, he's going to absolutely kill it. Like, I've seen how much work he's put in, I've seen how good he is, and then it comes to it, and they're a shadow of themselves, and you're like, fucking hell, like, where's that came from? And a lot of it is the pressure, and like, you have people there, and some people put too much pressure on themselves. They're like, oh, I'm going to let everyone down, and then they apologise after the fight and things like that. And it's like, nobody is wanting an apology from you.
I used to make posts after I'd lost saying, listen guys, I'm really sorry for all the people who put in the work, and I'm like, no, like, you're the guy that's making this walk, you're the guy that's taking the beating, you're the guy that has to suffer with this, nobody else does. You're the guy that once you leave the gym and go to the venue and go and walk, you're the one that's making that walk on your own. The guys have done everything they can, but ultimately it's you.
One of the best posts I've ever seen was Craig Dixon, the Muay Thai fighter, and he put up a post, walked into an elbow that left me on the canvas looking for spare change. Next fight's in a few weeks or something like that. And I remember reading that and just like, that is the best post-fight I've ever seen.
Am I right in saying that this is not just for MMA, this can be used for any sort of combat sport? Be it jiu-jitsu, be it karate, be it K1, it doesn't matter what it is, you can use the same basic fundamentals. Is this something that people can use in everyday life? So say, for instance, I'm working in a business sense and I would like to make my way to the next level. Is this something that...
Yeah, like, absolutely. Like, one of the big things that I'm an advocate of is sports psychology is performance. It's performance psychology. So regardless of what it is you're doing, if we're looking to better a performance, then it's the exact same thing. Whether that's you want to be a better dad, that is a performance. Whether it's you work in an office-based job, you want to be better at your job, that's a performance. If you own a business and you're like, okay, how can we get the business better? It's a performance. Like, one of the first things you'd be looking at is your goal setting straight away, fighting away the negative thoughts. Like, when I've started up this project as well, like, you have the thoughts and you're like, am I wasting my time?
What if this doesn't?
Yeah.
The what ifs?
Yeah, and it's like, well, if I don't do it, I won't know. And what happens in 10 years' time when I look back on it and I go, I probably should have gave that a go? Or what if I start it in 10 years' time and it goes well and I go, why did I wait 10 years?
And 10 years is still passed.
Yep. All I've done is I've delayed my progression 10 years.
I think there's an area for it. If you're going back 10 years previously, I think it would be less likely.
Absolutely.
Because the way the sport of mixed martial arts and combat sports and
men talking in general,
they viewed it. But I think now that because there is more people talking about it, be it if you're in soccer or if you're in boxing, whatever it is, more people are talking about it, more people are looking for this help. And there's so many more young guys who are coming into these gyms and have all the skills. And now they just need to have that final part either.
Mate, I mind whispering in the foot, like, when we were sitting in the office doing our very first session, I was like, I think somebody's out there.
I remember,
and like, pure turning my voice things. I was like, I don't want these cunts to hear this. Like, I'm talking to somebody about how I feel. Like, fucking hell, right? Shushing out till they go away. Right, okay, let's start again. It's fucking wild, really. You think about it, like, who cares if they hear? who cares what they think? Like, it makes no difference. It's quite funny,
like looking back on how like I used to do sessions as well, like in that wee dingy office, like in the middle of that gym in Coatbridge, and there'd be people just outside, and you're like, fuck, try to keep the volume down so people can't hear what you're talking about.
Can't hear how actually and fucked up we are.
One of the good things and bad things that happened to me was COVID, because it absolutely floored any potential work that I had, but it also encouraged the idea to start doing things over the phone and online. And I find like doing a lot of things over the phone, it's a lot easier. The difficulty is if I start doing sessions in person with you and then we switch to only over the phone, it kind of loses a bit of that dynamic and you need to rebuild that structure again. But if you start on the phone, it's pretty easy to, you meet them in person, like, oh, how you doing? And then that's fine. And going back to the phone. And I work with guys who live absolutely nowhere near me. If I was to try and do all my sessions in person, it would be impossible. So having this option now to do things over the phone has made life so much easier. And again, it kind of inspired this idea, well, if I can do it over the phone, I can create content online that I can put out to people and give them that type of self-help and my time is already put into it. So it's not taking any more of my time away. So I can still work with people if they're needing it and still have the time. But I've now got this here where I can continue to help other people and continue to work on more content in the back work. Yep. So that I can expand and offer more things. Like one of the ones that's going to be coming out soon is to do with injury. I fucked my back. I ruptured 2 discs. I was in a wheelchair. I was then using crutches. Now I can walk a wee bit, so it's fine. But over that time period, I couldn't train. I couldn't really go to work. I couldn't do anything. I was just bedridden. If I stood up, it was sore. If I sat down, it was sore. I'd have to like lie flat on my back. And it gave me time to like think about it. I was like, right, okay. A lot of athletes go through injury and it's shit, but the thing that people from an outside point of view don't look at, they just think, oh, they can't do their sport. It's like, well, that's part of it, but that sport is their identity. They can't train. They've totally lost who they are as a person. That's how I felt as well, like, because I've just joined Progress. Me and Tam are the 2 jiu-jitsu coaches there. And then not being able to do that anymore.
This is Progress Martial Arts. It's the gym. It's Chris Bungard's gym.
Yep, Progress Martial Arts and Shots. So if you're in the area, come join. I'll be back soon.
You've got another 2 guys who basically run the jiu-jitsu program there.
Yeah, me and Tam run the jiu-jitsu. Bungie runs the MMA, and Jordan Strong does the Thai, the striking. So it's a good setup. But I felt like I totally lost that part of me because I love coaching. Like I absolutely love it. I coach the police jiu-jitsu team as well. I've not been able to do that. It's been like 2 months almost where I've not been able to do anything. I'm like, fuck, it takes a massive toll on you mentally. So I was like, okay, I can use this as an opportunity. So I started journaling everything about it, how I was feeling, why I was feeling that way. How can I try and change this train of thought, and how can I make this something that's teachable? How can I train this instead of a one-to-one setting, how can I put this across as like a guide that people can follow and use? And if we do have that forum part of it set up, we can tap into it and find other people who are in the exact same situations, and then we can start bridging the gaps and understanding it's normal, it's shit, but it's normal. And then the part I'm at now where I'm starting to get better, I still can't train, I still can't really do anything at all, but I'm like, okay, it's my back injuries happen a lot. When you do it once, it comes again. So I was like, okay, how do I get over the fear of re-injury? And that's a massive one. We look at like Anderson Silva when he broke his leg, like the fear of re-injury, like throwing that leg kick again. He's like, oh fuck, is it going to go? How do we get past that mental block? And that's something that I've been developing in the background just now, and I'm hoping to have finished in the next, hopefully by the start of the year or next year, January.
I obviously know what you've been using to support you. Just tell the guys what.
Oh yeah, so my man Luke from Anaconda Fightwear.
Anaconda Fightwear. I knew this.
Anaconda Fightwear.co.
Yeah, he sorted me out. So thank you very much for that, Luke. Because I've got it on the now. Like
$2 for $59.
Being able to actually walk about, it was not possible. But when I wear this, it genuinely helps. Like I was skeptical. I was like, what the fuck's a bit of plastic around my belly going to do for me? But
the same again.
It
just
helps.
to get the.
Reassures you to
we've been pushing the products for a while, and it's because we genuinely believe in them, and the fact that you're using it, you're a sports psychologist, and it's getting you moving. And then I imagine in a few months you'll be back on the mat and you'll be back doing your thing.
I'll still be using it for a while as well. But the other thing I like about it, like I've put a bit of weight on since I've not been able to train, and it's like a corset. It sucks my belly in. So I don't look anywhere near as fat as I actually am either. So so it's thank you for helping me with that, Luke.
He's a good guy. Have you noticed that, because I've been in the sport for a number of years now, and I kind of noticed that MMA and jiu-jitsu guys, they've all got like some sort of, I think the word's neurodivergence in it. It's like,
yes,
basically they've got all, like they're on some sort of spectrum. Is this something you've noticed as well?
Yes, definitely more so with jiu-jitsu. We look at the elite level jiu-jitsu guys, and it's, from my expertise, and I won't say names because I don't want to single people out, but it's quite clear that there's a lot of very successful jiu-jitsu guys who are definitely on the spectrum at some point. But it's quite interesting though, because the thing with like, it's a spectrum, so it varies where you are on it, right? There's a happy medium, you know, like you can be too far gone in one direction where you need like genuine support and you can't function as an individual. You need people to help you through daily tasks. But then you get people who have a sort of hyperfixation, who super zone in on one particular thing, and they become excellent at it. Like we look at like maths, things like that. Some of our best mathematicians are on the spectrum, and they're exceptional at what they do. And we look at jiu-jitsu, and there's people that we could quite easily think of who would go absolutely exceptional at what they do, and they are, well, I'm not going to say they are, but my opinion is that they are on the spectrum at some way. I know I'm on the spectrum somewhere. I'm, as you're saying, hyper focused when I when I get something in my head. I won't leave it alone until I've picked that scab right off. So it's, for me, it's like learning a position or learning a move or doing something. I get hyper focused on it. And I think it's a great thing for most guys who are suffering for this to get involved in martial arts, not MMA. Like, some people will never ever step into the octagon or want to spar that kind of stuff, but it just gives you something like an outlet. And I think sport's great for people who are on the spectrum. Yeah, like there's many examples of it. Like right now, I think I spoke to you about this before. I'm learning German again, but I've got no interest in speaking it or being able to understand it. I just want to be able to read it. So I'm shit hot at reading German, but I can't speak it and I can't formulate sentences. So if you ask me to write it down, I'd struggle with like where the positions of the words go. But if you show me it, I'll read it to you. You know what I mean? So it's weird, like how you can get so focused in on one particular aspect of something opposed to the full picture. And if you use jiu-jitsu as an example, you get guys that just zone right in on leg locks, shit hot at leg locks, but you go past their guard and maybe they're not great. Yep. So it's mad how it's just a sport holding some people together, eh? Yeah. Really, when you think of it, like, if you took this away from them, like they'd fall apart. Like if I think of like my careers as well, like the policing side of things, wasn't so sure if I wanted to say that there, but the policing side of things as well. Like, it's my experience with my sports has been so beneficial for me. Being able to run the jiu-jitsu team, I've wrote tons of different psychology tools that the police can use, and they have started implementing it in police training and things like that. And the connections that I've made through my sport has made that aspect of my professional life far more successful than it probably should be at this point. So they are using jiu-jitsu in training now, aye? Yeah, so it's far more, they're trying to get even more in, but it's way more jiu-jitsu focused than it used to be. Do you feel any pushback for police officers who are not like saying this doesn't work? Yeah. Yeah, and they're like, we're still going to use the old-fashioned program of hit you with a fucking stick. Yeah, basically joint manipulation. It's like just basically arm up the back stuff, isn't it? Yeah, so it has. What's it called? The combat. What is it? The program that you're using for the police? So we call it operational safety training now. Is what it's known as. And is it getting up off the ground? Not so much getting up off the ground anymore. A lot of it nowadays is actually being able to, if you think of like the floor as a weapon, almost as something that you can pin someone against. The floor doesn't have to be the floor, it can also be a wall, something that you can use as a form of like pinning. So a big part of policing now is, or OSTs, pinning. You want to be able to pin without causing like positional asphyxia, which is stopping people breathing. Yes. Chest down and hands behind your back is what kills people. Yeah, so we're trying to avoid that aspect of it, and there's so much red tape around it as well, trying to figure out what can you do, what can't you do, what's too high risk, what's too low risk, and that's not my pay grade. I've got no input with that. Maybe in the next 10 years we'll see police just doing scissor sweeps to people. Yeah, just heel hooking them. So the guy who is in charge of that is very big on jiu-jitsu just now, and he's... Well, I think it's a sport which has been shown through martial arts and mixed martial arts, but also through, we've seen it on the internet where people are apprehending people, like people in the public who are maybe causing a bit of chaos, and you've got normal guys in the street who are pinning them on the ground, not putting them into any position where they're going to get hurt, but just
pinning them and controlling them until the proper authorities come. So I think it's going to be more and more.
So there's also these horror videos the other way around, aren't they?
Exactly.
Where it's the police trying to stop someone who does MMA and them getting pasted. And
That's it.
or like the airport, the lassie getting her face fucking smashed open the other day. Like, you don't want to see that.
And that's it's the big thing. Like if the police are more suitably trained to the point where they are able to utilise some form of safe control.
But then that the same again, in the same breath, that takes a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Like, think about your level of jiu-jitsu that you've got. Didn't happen in a week.
I know it's a really hard problem to solve, and I obviously don't want to get myself in bother with my work and talk about things that I think they should do to improve.
And obviously it has to be ongoing. They can't just do a 6-week self-defence. They would have to always train. There should be time set aside weekly for them to train.
Yeah, that's something that
financial cost as well for the police scope.
Something I've been looking at and thinking about is trying to figure out a way that you can bridge that, where you can have a consistent training. But the thing is, we've got people in the job who have been in so long who are very fixated on the way things were, and they don't want it to change. And
I guess that's the same in most jobs, isn't it? We used to do it this way. Well, guess what?
And it always works.
Fucking things change, man.
I think the easiest way to do it just now is to drill it into the new people that are coming in, because there's a continual turnover with the police. And if you're thinking 10 years' time, the majority of people who are response cops will have came through in that last 10 years. So they are now of the new mindset where we can then start applying things and changing the path of it. But it's not something that can change overnight. And ultimately it comes down to people who are far and above myself in regards to the police, in regards to actual laws.
Strange when you think
money as well. It comes to
the financial restraints. So.
But in your job, why would you not train and take care of yourself? Because ultimately it's you who is between this nut job. It's you dealing with this person. So
it's a very good question.
It's
and I don't know.
It's weird that they just go, well, I hope it's not me who has to arrest them. But it might be.
So. And the thing as well is, like, there's not as many police nowadays as there was back in the day.
No,
you know what I mean? The numbers are far reduced. So if back in the day, you could just go, fuck it, the guy's kicking off, we'll get like 6 E's to go down. You can't do that if you've only got 6 people on the shift. You know? So that side of things is frustrating.
It's a very real.
Yeah. I try my best not to think about
it. So if the guys are looking to get in contact with you, what's your social media? Do you know them off by heart? I'm going to say you don't.
I don't.
But we'll file them in.
Yeah.
And if the guys are looking to get in touch with you professionally, or if they're looking to get your program, we'll put your program up there as well. Yeah,
the program should be releasing at the end of August. So this year, it should be coming out in the next, from when we're filming this, 2-3 weeks, whenever it goes out. But the end of August, roughly, is when everything should be live. It's just finishing the last wee edits, and then it'll be good to go. And of course, I'll give yourselves the program as well, so you can tack that onto your ever expanding knowledge base.
Yeah. Elliott, it's been a pleasure. Always is. I enjoy catching up with you, and I hope the guys out there who have enjoyed it as well. As I said, we'll put the links for you to get access to Elliott if you're looking to work with him or just looking to pick his brain. Also, we'll put in the link for the actual program, which Elliott is currently running. And as always, guys, keep it high and stay safe.
See you soon.